Hello everybody, welcome to another watercolor tutorial. I am just preparing my piece of paper here by applying tape to the borders, but I am reusing tape from a previous painting because it's already in the exact shape that I want it, although I've realized now that the other paper must have been a slightly different size because it's not fitting perfectly. But yes, you can apply, by all means, tape to the borders of your piece of paper to make them nice, clean, and crisp. Mine are all over the place, but you know what? It'll have to do. There we go. At least you can kind of see the border. I would not advise doing this because I already see a problem. As soon as I apply a wash to the background, the black from the sides that's on the tape, it's going to go onto my piece of paper. I already foresee that being a problem, but I am too lazy to do anything about that. So we're just gonna go with this, but please use clean tape if you don't want to ruin your painting. So I saw this really neat, it was a very abstract landscape from somebody called mumulartiste, something like that. I'll include it in the description. And I wanted to try and see if I could replicate it in some way, but it's very abstract, so I imagine mine's gonna look very different from the original. So we are gonna start off by applying just a very, what do you call it, abstract wash to the background, or not abstract, but not a very defined or detailed wash. So I'm starting with green as my base because it's kind of, it looks like a field, and then I'm taking yellow for sort of the midsection, like so. Actually, that black is kind of working to my favor a little bit because it's making the yellow a little more realistic rather than this bright yellow that I would have had otherwise. And then I'm gonna have some blue that mixes into that yellow at the top here. Now, I want to really quickly, before this bottom part dries, but I want to clear a little area because I'm gonna have a pond or something here. Something like that. And then I'm also going to apply sort of a brownish line here that's going to serve as almost a horizon line, but we're going to define it later with perhaps shrubs or something. I am going to add just a tiny bit of black to that brown. So that actually doesn't look bad. I mean, it doesn't look like much, but we're starting to see something. I am tempted to fill this in with blue to represent water, but I'm not going to yet. We are going to let this background dry, and no, we're not. We're not going to do that yet. I do want to add some more details on the green before the green dries, because if we add different pigments and whatnot to the green, it'll be a lot easier to make it look realistic with the grass and whatnot. So I've just taken some green and just kind of dotted it in random places. We're gonna have a fence coming across here. So I'm gonna make where I think the base of my fence is going to be, I'm just gonna kind of dot a black line there to make it a bit darker. I'm gonna dot some black areas on the sides here. make it look like there are some shadows or whatnot. Again, you can kind of make this your own because this is super abstract. The only thing that's really going to make this look like a landscape painting, that's going to define what it is the fence that we paint and perhaps a tree or two. So don't get too caught up about like following exactly where I made every single brush stroke. Just follow the general pattern of what I'm doing, and I promise it'll come together when we start adding the intricate details of the fence and whatnot. So that's the beauty of abstract paintings. You can just make them your own. In fact, I'm going to add perhaps a little bit of brown here. That was a little bit too much brown for my liking. I don't even know what that's supposed to be, but it adds a little bit of variety to the painting. So that, man, I'm kind of surprising myself. That looks not bad at all. Like, it looks like it's meant to be something. You just don't know exactly what it's gonna be yet. But that means we're on the right track. So, okay, I think I'm okay with this. I think I'm gonna let this dry. I think this is already, oh, maybe not. I don't think that's totally dry. I'm worried about doing this top part because if it's already started to dry and I paint over top of it, then it's gonna create a cauliflower effect, which I don't want. So, oh, I think we're okay actually. Okay, in that case, I'm gonna just darken that brown that I painted earlier. Like so. And I think I'm gonna let that dry. And yeah, so let's let this dry and we'll come back. Okay, so we have our background here. I'm really, like, I love how this turned out, even though it doesn't look like much. I really like the composition. I love how the very earthy tones blend into one another, but they're also sort of distinct and separate. I know it sounds like I know what I'm talking about right now, but I don't. I just really like how this looks, and I almost don't want to add anything to it, but we're gonna proceed, charge ahead. So I'm going to, I think, paint the fence, because if we have our fence in, then it'll give us more of a structure of how to paint and where to paint things. So you're gonna grab, you can either use pure black or you can mix brown with black to kind of make a dark brown, but you do want it to be like fairly dark because the fence is going to be our defining feature in this painting. It's what's going to make this whole thing really come together, or bring it together. So you can make your fence however you want. I'm like, this one is sort of going to be falling apart because we want this to look like an abandoned landscape. So I'm going to zoom in a bit, not that much because that requires me to move my paper. That seems good. So I originally intended this brown part to be sort of like a, what would you call it? Like a horizon line that's defined by a bunch of shrubs. I don't know if I'm still gonna do that, so, but if I do decide to do that, then I want to paint my fence here kind of closer to my little pond or whatever this is intending to be. So I'm gonna have my posts kind of facing a few different directions. And the more abstract they look, the better it will be. The more worn down your painting will look. So they could be sort of different shapes, different heights, sticking in different directions. You do want to kind of generally make them on the same plane though. So I don't like how light that is. I am going to add a little bit more pigment to make it substantially darker. It's just a random one there. So I'm going to make a little opening. I'm taking a little bit more black because I don't like quite how brown this is looking. There we go. Okay. I'm tempted. Okay, I am going to add a little wire, I guess, that's connecting these guys. So I'm switching to my quadruple zero here by Winsor & Newton, linked in the description if you're interested, and I'm going to try and connect these very abstractly with a little wire. Maybe another one down here. And it doesn't have to be connected, like I didn't connect it all. Now, what I do want to do here, it's kind of sticking out of nowhere, it seems, like this fence, right? So I do want to add some like grassy features on the bottom. And that's also why we added that green pigment on top, like when we just started matting down a bunch of green and like darker features. Like imagine if we just left it that lighter green. It would be really hard to fill in this space and make it look super grassy and mossy and whatnot if we absolutely had nothing there except a solid green color. So I am taking, I had this green that I really liked and I ran out of it. And I'm so sad because now I have to make a green every time I want to use it. So yeah, I'm just adding some dark grassy features at the base of my fence posts. That seems very tedious though, so I'm kind of tempted to just make it more abstract, like so. See, and that already adds a little bit more realism. Or maybe not realism, but it doesn't make it look as empty as it looked before. Added some green. I'm going to add a little bit of black underneath to add the illusion of a shadow or something. I don't know. And I do want to spread this out a tiny bit and start creating like a border for this pond that we've got going on here. So I'm just spreading these features out a little bit. Trying to create something here, you know. I'm going to also have some grass coming up like this. And we're gonna do the same thing on the bottom here as we did here. So I just wanna have reeds or grass or whatever you want this to be coming up on this fake pond. Something like that. And then we're gonna take green and just dab it on the base of these. Like this. And again, taking that black and adding it to create a shadowy feature on the base here. And then I'm rinsing my brush a tiny bit and dragging that color out on the sides to try and blend it with the surrounding areas. Like so. So that's sort of starting to come together a little bit. I just took a little bit of black and brown because I want to have some darker blades of grass or darker reeds coming up as well, so there isn't like such a contrast. And I'm just going over the area with the fence post because the grass seems to have faded as it dried. Okay. And what you can also do is have a reflection of your fence posts in the water. So like I took very watered down brown and I'm just dabbing it in a very like wave-like fashion. So it looks like there's a reflection of the fence post there. Like so. Okay. I'm also going, okay, actually no, I'm gonna go ahead and do something with this horizon because if I don't and I start painting like a tree here, it's gonna, oh gosh, actually I don't know anymore. Because I really like that abstract look. I am not going to do anything there. I really like how this brown adds this, you know, you can interpret it in so many ways. It could be a horizon kind of area. It could be just the sky making this spooky look. So I'm gonna not do anything there. I'm just gonna paint a tree here that goes over. Adds a little bit of perspective to the painting. So I'm using my blackish brown here, watering it down a little bit because I do want it to be a tad bit lighter than our fence post. And I'm gonna have my tree that's going to extend upwards, and it's going to be a wild tree where the branches just go everywhere. Because this is an abstract painting, so we are not focusing too much on hyper details, although I'm probably going to end up doing that because that's just what I do. Perhaps another little tree beside it coming up. So that looks quite nice. I'm proud of myself for not doing anything with this brown hazy area because usually I overdo it. I do too much and it ruins a painting, so yay me. I'm also going to add some abstract leaves, so I'm tilting my paintbrush horizontal and just dabbing it. And it's leaving like these tiny little abstract dots or whatnot on the tree. So that looks all right. I think looks quite nice. We do have to finish off this corner though. This one here. So I'm grabbing some green, I'm mixing it with brown, and just trying to decide how I'm going to go about this, because I want this area to be very defined and dark to match this. Maybe add that brown back in there that we painted in the first layer. I don't know. We don't have to be, because this is abstract, we don't have to be too worried about things. Just dabbing my paintbrush and look, it filled it in. Look at that. We don't have to worry about too much. I'm gonna switch quickly to my quadruple zero again. And I'm adding just some random like lines coming out here. I do actually want to paint a little, I don't know what you would call it, shrub or something coming out here. Just add a little bit more to the painting. Maybe another one here. That's all right. I'm just taking that brown that I had there because I can't be bothered to get black. And I'm just adding some darker features on the bottom. It's really making it come together. That was not very much effort. This is looking a little bare to me. So what I'm gonna do is add some flying birds. One there. One there. One there. That one's a little lopsided. Oh boy. That's fine. Maybe one more to balance that lopsidedness out. There we go. Okay, that actually looks pretty darn cool, like for not trying very hard. And that's the best thing about this. This isn't a painting that you have to try very hard for. You just plop colors down and it comes together. So the best part, the best part is peeling the tape off to reveal very wonky borders because I reuse the tape. But I quite like how that turned out. I hope that you guys did too and that you enjoyed this. If you did, please don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. I try to reply to every single one. Hit like on this video, subscribe, and I will see you in the next tutorial.